Just some technical issues, but we're all good to go. So just check that's working. Cool. So thank you all so much for coming. It's good to see so many of you, some new faces, some old. So welcome to Power BI Brum. So this is something that we've started back end of last year, off the back of the success in Manchester. So some of you guys might know the Manchester events, but this is something now we're looking to continue in Birmingham at the moment. So we've had a few events, we're continuing to do so. In terms of the reasons to come, so it's a great networking opportunity, great chance to learn more about Power BI, upgrade your skills. Whether you're new to Power BI, very already experienced, always a good time to come. So it's myself, AJ, sat over there in the green jumper, and Dawn from the tech team today from Robert Walters. Myself, I do specialise in the BI and data field. So if you have any questions around the market, how it's looking at the moment, whether you're looking to hire, whether you're looking for a new job, I'd be more than happy to provide advice around all of those areas. So the schedule, yeah, so like I said, slight delay because of the tech, but yeah, we'll get the introductions done. So we'll start with the magic of drill through capabilities in Power BI with yours truly. We'll have a quick break for food and drinks, which will obviously go back out to the break room. And then we'll have Tom Goff, who will be doing enriching Power BI reports through AI. And then, yeah, bit of a chance to probably at the end, if you want to ask the guys any questions about their stuff, a bit more networking, and that should be good. So next event, so we've got Thursday, the 18th of May. That will be taking place in our offices, which are Brindley Place. It's about 20-minute walk from here. So we'll be hosting that at our offices on the Thursday. We have already got Daniel Marsh-Patrick and John Dunn confirmed for that. So we'll get the marketing stuff out in a couple of days. But the event is already on Meetup. So if you guys know you're going to be free and you want to come along, be more than welcome. And as I said, that's the venue, 11 Brindley Place. Also, if anyone knows anybody who would be open to letting us use their venues, anybody in the crowd who would like to potentially speak on a topic with Power BI, we welcome that. We'd be more than happy to welcome that. And also, of course, a special shout out to the guys at KPMG who have already done so much with the guys in Leeds and Manchester for letting us now enrich this for Birmingham as well. But yeah, thank you all so much for coming. So I'll hand you over to the guys here to start. Yeah, thank you all so much.
Yeah, perfect.
Cool.
Cheers, man.
Thank you.
Gonna get the slides on. Perfect. Mic testing. Everyone can hear me at the back. Perfect. So hi everyone, my name's Anish. I'm part of the KPMG Lighthouse. We specialize in data analytics, going through BI, data analytics, data strategy, loads of different things. And today we're going to talk about the magic of drill throughs. So if the mic goes to you. So.
Hi guys, my name is Nimai Ahluwalia and I work as a BI data engineer in KPMG. I have a couple of experience in Power BI and Power Automation and some migrations which we take from on-premise to cloud maybe. And then I have a few certifications in Databricks, and I also am a Microsoft certified trainer, which can teach Power BI data services on cloud and everything.
Perfect. This is me. Hi, I'm Anish. I'm a BI analyst in the KPMG Lighthouse. So my role is to convert client processes into requirements. Sorry, just take a picture. Yeah, just turn it into requirements and also make the dashboards. And outside of work, you'll see me playing football. Recently started in karate. Learn how to do tornado kick if anyone wants to see it afterwards.
Yeah.
Doing that as well.
We would love that.
So enough about us. Time for us to get to know you. So we have a activity. So I want everyone to put your hands up. Everyone. I need all the hands up. Perfect. That's what I like to see. So, hands up. So put your hands down if you've never used Power BI before. Okay. So put your hands down if you've used Power BI but you've never heard of drill throughs. Someone's going down. Okay. Put your hands down if you've used drill throughs but you go, oh, I'm not really sure how to use it. Okay. And put your hands down if drill throughs are your bread and butter. Oh, quite a lot of hands down. I think there's a lot of experts here. And I guess the rest, you guys are just here for free pizza. I don't blame you. I'm here for the same, don't worry. So next slide.
Perfect, guys. So the magic of drill through. Okay. So guys, drill through is something which we normally use in Power BI in most of the use cases, right? And why do we use drill throughs is very important before we actually implement that into our reports. So drill through is something like we use for navigating from one page to a different page into, parameterize your data points or something like that. So, if you focus on the things like if I give you a use case where you are on a single page, which shows you your store analysis, or maybe where you can see how is the store performing. And then you want to see why my store is not performing well or why is it performing so great. You can always go from your one page to a different page by on a particular data point so that you can get understanding like why is your store doing not well or doing well. So before I start, if you have guys any questions, you can just ask me in between or something like that so that you don't forget at the end what you have to ask. And then we're going to be doing some couple of demos for you all so that you understand how it's done. First, I'm going to be showing you some presentations, and then I'm going to be showing you how actually it works in the action. And then we'll go on and see how we actually can develop the data. Okay. So coming back to the presentation, guys. This is something that, as I said, is going to be using for the navigation, basically, but in much more better way where we understand how the things are happening into my data or something like that. So Rilso is something which normally goes from one page to another page. That's a very simple thing, but we need to set up in a way that you work it properly. And I'm going to show you guys how actually it works by showing it on the Power BI service, how actually it works, and on the Power BI desktop, as per a developer, how actually we can set up the drill throughs in Power BI. Okay. So there's something other also in drill throughs is like cross report drill throughs. So for the normal drill throughs, guys, we navigate from one page to a different page, but inside a single report. Okay. But over here, if I say I want to navigate from one report to another report, we use cross report drill through. The terminology is same, but there's a bit of a difference in a cross report drill through and a normal drill through. We set up in the same way, but there's a different use cases for it. So for example, if a better use case which I can make you all understand for the cross report drill through is that if you are showing your manager or your CEO sales analysis summary or maybe, and if he wants to see that where my sales are going down at which month or at which store. So you might just click on that data point and travel to a different report. But now you can say, guys, why I need two different reports for that. I can just do it in a single report by using the normal drill through. So we use the cross report drill through is that so that you keep two things separately because your CEO won't require to see every detail of it. Only if he thinks that something is going wrong, I might see the detailed report, but overall, he's just going to be concerned about the sales for the single report. So it's better that we divide the things for him to understand much more clearly, where he sees only the overview report. And if he thinks that I want to see some detailed part of it, then he can hop over from that report into a detailed report by using the cross report drill through. Right, guys? Let's go on further. I'm going to be showing you guys a short demo on drill throughs and cross report drill throughs. First, you're going to see the thing working in action on the Power BI service, and then we'll hop over to the Power BI desktop version where we see how actually we create a drill through and make it work live in the action. Okay, guys?
Perfect. So while Nimai's loading up the demo, so the demo that we're using today is a data from a retail client. We've anonymized all the data, so it's nothing to do with them. But the problem case that they had was they had a lot of Excel spreadsheets and they didn't have much visibility of how things are going in their organization. So we decided to build a dashboard just so they can see, and drill throughs were one of the main features, and Nimai will go through it in more detail.
Right, guys. So we are here on our Power BI service, guys. If you don't know what is Power BI service is an online Power BI platform where we can share and collaborate with the clients. It's normally used for the end users to consume your reports, which you develop on your Power BI desktop. So yeah, and we normally use Power BI service to share the reports with your client, with your teammates and everything. And we use Power BI desktop to create the reports, as I said. So if you guys see over here, I might come to this page and see that if you see at the chart, what do they purchase, right? And I have a category over there. I have total revenue. I have prior year YTD revenue, and I want to see something, what's going on with my shirt category. Okay. So I just come over here on the shirt. It's very easy to use, guys. On the shirt, you right click on it. And if you don't know what to do, you can just hover over it. It says that you have to right click to drill through. And you come over here and you get two options, which is the product analysis and the transaction detail. So let's go on to my product analysis and see what my category has been performing. So we come over here, guys, and as you can see on the top right chart, the whole report has been filtered by shirt. Okay. So now we know that if what's going on with that category, if it's performing good, if not performing good, so we can take that kind of actions. But now I want to see much more detailed view of what's going on with that category or something more information about it. So again, I'll come over here, guys, on the shirt, press, and then drill through to a transaction detail maybe. And then now, if you see, the whole page has been filtered by shirt. In this way, we came from page 1 to the page 2, from page 2 to the page 3 in much more detailed way. So in this way, we can navigate from page 1 to page 2, page to page 3, and get much more data insights about your particular category, right? So this is the Power BI service where I showed you the feature in action. And now we're going to go back to the Power BI desktop version and see actually how to create it. Okay, guys, perfect. So let me go back to the Power BI desktop over here. That's the same report which you are seeing, but it's in the Power BI desktop. So we'll take the same chart over here. And if you see, we'll take the same thing, skirt, and we click over here, drill through. We can't see, I've like made this thing purposely so that I demonstrate you how actually drill through works. So if you see over here, previously it was transaction detail and product analysis, but now it's not there. We can't see the drill through option for the product analysis. But if you see over here, we had an option product analysis. So we'll see how to actually create and make it working on the Power BI desktop. So what we do is, guys, when we decide I want to go from my page 1 to page 2, so you have to do some things, set up something on the target page, which is my page 2, so that your page 1 comes to know where are you going or where I need to go maybe, right? So we'll hop over to the page 2, which is my product analysis, and I'll click on the format. And over here, if you see, there are various options right there, drill through from. So these are the points which your page comes to know where I have to come from. So if you see now, I'll go back again to the store analysis. And if you see, I have a category over here. I have a total revenue. I have my prior year YTD revenue. So I need to add those fields into my drill through section so that my page 1 comes to know that I have to go to page 2, or I have an option to go to page 2. Unless we don't add the fields, can't do it. So we'll add the fields. We'll go and write total revenue. That has been added. And we'll write category. And we'll save the file just for safety. And now if you see that, let's understand if our page 1 is trying to detect that we can go to the product analysis or not, after adding all the important fields which we require to travel from page 1 to page 2. We'll go back again over here and right click. And now I can see my product analysis. Why? Because this field, which is there inside the chart, knows that I have an option to go over here in the page 2. So it can travel from page 1 to page 2. And now if I click over here, gets filtered by whatever category I decide. It might take some time, yeah. And then from here, so it's done over here, the transaction detail. And if you see over here, it's already been done. So in this way, we set up a drill through. It's pretty much simple, guys. You just need to add the measures or column which you want to navigate from. If you want to navigate from page 1 to page 2 in terms of revenue, then you should have that revenue field or that revenue calculation into your target page. In that way, we transfer from one page to another page. This is how the drill through works. And now we're going to see how the cross report drill through works. It's almost the same. If you know how to set up and run drill throughs, cross report drill through is going to be pretty much more simpler than this. So let's go and see in action first how the cross report works.
Any questions so far?
So let's imagine, guys, this is my overview report, which I have given my manager. And he sees that, okay, my L store is not performing as it was expected, which is in a dark red color or something. Yeah, a purple color, maybe, yeah. So he thinks that I want to see why my store L is not performing well. And he wants to go to the product analysis. He wants to see the transactions details of it, which I showed you now, but there's no option over here to go, which is there in a separate report, right? So we're going to do the same thing which we did in the drill through. We'll click on it. We'll go drill through. And then you can see, guys, I have two options to go over here, which is the store analysis and the product analysis. So let's go on the store analysis and see, guys, the name has been changed. And now we are on a different report from a one report where everything has been filtered by the store location, which is L. And now I think that let's go on to the shorts and then go to the product analysis. And when I'm in the product analysis, let's see what happens in the transactions of it. And then we reach over here. And this way, we went from a one report to a different report. And in that different report, we went more inside to see why my store is not performing well, or which category of my store is not giving me enough amount of sales. So in this way, we navigate from one report to another report. There are a lot of limitations, best practices, which Anish is gonna let you know after this demo. So that your questions you might be arising now will be clear enough. So this is how the cross reporting through works in action. And now let's see, guys, how it is done in the Power BI desktop. As I said before, guys, it's very, very much easy. If you know how to work with drill throughs, cross report drill throughs is a piece of cake. So as you know, you have two reports. One is a source and one is a destination. So on the source, what you have to do is to make your cross report through work. So you have to go on the file, options and settings, options, scroll down there at the end, report settings, and if you turn this option on, I've already turned it on, but it was like it might be off for you guys. So you have to just turn it on and just press OK. And that's it. That's all you have to do for your source report, right? And now let's see the main thing which we have to do in the destination report. Here is your destination report. So we're gonna, obviously, you're gonna be going from one report to a different report with the help of a drill through. Obviously, you might require to add the measures and the tables which you require from your report 1, which is the source, to go on to report 2, which is the destination. So the process is going to be the same. You have to add the tables and columns in the drill through section, but for the cross report, you just have to turn this on button, but you can't turn this on button on the source report. You have to turn this on a target report. So for every page you want to set up a drill through for a cross report drill through that you want to allow to travel from that report. So if you are thinking that I only want from my detailed report, only page 2 should be allowed from the source report to come into my destination report. Then you should only click cross report burn through on the second page, but not on the first page. But if you want all 3 pages to be available for your cross report, then you have to turn on all 3 pages. You have to just click over here on for page 1, and then like on for page 2, and then for page 3 as well. Save it and then publish it. In this way, we set up the cross report in through. So as I said before, guys, if you know how to set up a normal in through, cross report in through just a piece of cake. Back to the slide. Let's move further, guys.
Perfect. Thanks, Nimai.
Yeah.
So now that you know how to make a drill through, it's good to know what are the best practices when doing a drill through as well. So the number one thing is always make sure to have the same theme, be consistent with everything. Just imagine this, you drill through a different report and it's completely different colors. You might just go, oh, where am I? What is this? So always make sure to be consistent with everything. Number 2 is always make sure that you validate your drill throughs. Drill throughs are not always 100% accurate, so always make sure that you're testing it out. At the end of the day, you should always test everything, and drill throughs is also one of them. Try out with filters, put some filters down, see if you get the same thing when you drill through. But do make sure to clear the filters before you publish, because otherwise they will always be there. Next one is do not use anything that will give you a blank. We don't like to see blank. Blank does not look good. So always make sure that you use visuals that will not give you blank. Test it out beforehand. That's not one of the main things we do at KPMG is we look at client processes, because one of the most common things we've seen in drill throughs is people might just put irrelevant stuff in there, and you don't want that. You want to see relevant things regarding what you just drilled down to. At the end of the day, it's more detail. You don't want too much information overload. You might just go, oh, what do I look at now? So always make sure that you have things that are relevant. Next one, last but not least. Sorry. Last but not least, this is your own choice, but I really like to hide drill through pages, because imagine this. Nowadays, there's a lot of data, and when there's a lot of data, it loads very slow. But if a drill through page is hidden, it can only be accessed when there's filters applied. So there's less data to load, quicker reloading time. So it's just easier to do it like that. At the end of the day, it's your personal preference, whatever you pick, that's fine. But if you do choose to not hide the page, I would highly recommend adding like a little button on the top just to clear all the filters. You don't want someone to manually go, run. You don't want them to clear it out one by one. So just make it user friendly. And then next slide, please. And then, yeah, everything has its own limitations, and so does drill throughs. So number 1 is when you do cross report drill throughs, there must be a direct relationship between both of the reports. So yeah, each one can have their own data, but when you're drilling through it, they should have the common data type. And if you don't do that, it will just not work. Number 2 is large data, as I said before. It can be very slow if there's a lot of data there. So I personally would recommend hiding the page, but again, your choice. It really depends on what your solution is at the end of the day. And then this is something I recently found out, but cross-report drill throughs does not work with Power BI Reports server. Nimai, do you want to go through it on more detail?
Yeah. So basically, the Power BI report server is something which people not normally use nowadays. It's like you install something, does just like on-premise installation, which it's better than the Power BI desktop. So you can use Power BI desktop instead of using the report server, because in report server there is a lot of incapabilities which you can't use. So something like that.
Yeah, thank you. And then last point kind of relates to the first point, but schemas can be different, but the fields you pass must be the same. And yeah, that's all we have for today. Thank you so much. And if anyone does like to see a demo of the sales dashboard in the field detail, feel free to come and reach out to us. Any questions? Now's your time. Yeah.
I'm quite new to Power BI, and I love the cross reporting because I do training data reporting from our LMS. What I wasn't clear of is what the benefit of a drill through would be. But when you talked about hiding the pages, then that makes more sense. But because I just think, why right click on this field and then click versus I've got a menu there, I can just go straight to that page.
Yeah, absolutely. So think of it like this, right? Let's say it's not hidden and you're looking at your exec page and you go, huh, that's quite interesting. Why is it so low there? Then you can just right click on that particular data point and it'll take you to that page. Whereas if you were to just go to that transaction page, it will just show you everything. And then you would have to manually filter it out based on what you saw before.
Okay.
Yeah.
Transfer over to the second one, and if that has got a delay time, you it right? That data, how does it work?
Yeah, so they both would work separately, independently, because the data sources will be different. The reports are different, so the relevant security would be also be different. So if you have set up a relevant security for the first report, which is the overview report, which obviously being seen by a CEO or something, so he would be having the access to see both the reports, but the junior level employee won't be having the access to see the main report. So it works on the different data sources because ILS works on a data source. So these two reports have a different data source. So different ILS would be applied to two different things. I hope I answered your question.
Yeah, that's true.
Two ILSs for one for the source and one for the detailed report. Yeah. So in the source, you can't allow your junior employees to view. So it's, yeah. Any more questions, guys? Drill throughs?
So on the initial dashboard, Joe, right click on.
Yeah.
How do you kind of like no obvious indication that your team is available on those visuals? Available.
Right.
Have you got any kind of recommendations of motivation about how to kind of indicate available?
If you have set up a drill through on a Power BI desktop and then it's been published onto your Power BI service, so if you just hover over a chart, you get to know if the drill through has been there on it or not. Or on the Power BI desktop, you can have to click it and see if it's available or not. Maybe, yeah.
Without actually putting the chart, you don't know if it's available.
No.
Yeah.
What else you can do?
Sticking the bar on.
Ah, yeah, you can do that. Yes.
Yeah.
You can do that.
If you sort of continue on this, if you use the drill through button, so that perhaps is a way to address this problem. Where if you have the button, then that button might be a placeholder, and when you select, let's say, a row of the same, what button becomes available, then tell that, okay, I can do something with this. So perhaps I'm gonna ask a question very similar to that, as a way to make users more aware that, okay, if I do this, something happens, and then I can get further.
Yeah,
So
do that.
yeah, that's the problem. We do think it's kind of hidden with that.
Yeah.
Basically.
Oh, and that's a really good idea.
Yeah, that's all right. Yeah.
Sorry, I had a question there, so yeah.
No, I was just going to make the same point that Flavia.
Design has to be engines, which is way which is changed the colour of the border. Visual, we will use a little girl icon. We say put in the top corner and hide anything on there. Little icon saying it's a girl.
I found it useful when designing dashboards to have exec top level summary dashboards that have small amount of data so you don't get information overload and drill through. It's the ideal way to go through your sub detail dashboards to go down to lower levels of security. So it's good best practice to have good.
Yeah, I agree, 100%. Yeah.
Yeah, I think you do need that sort of user education though to make sure that when you're launching a report out to your user base, to make sure that you're actually also putting that sort of, there's an education piece to get in there as well to say, here's what the report is, but also go through the things it can do. And again, as I think that is that issue around drill through is not always an obvious thing that's on there. So if you are if you have a session with your users, potentially have sort of a number of sort of user champions or something of that ilk, who can then sort of cascade that knowledge out to your broader user base. It can make it a lot easier for people to understand what is possible in these reports as you launch them out.
I think IBM Cognos by default used to sort of, if you hover over it and drill through, it would change the icon, the mouse pointer, so you knew it was a drill through. You clicked on a field, so you could do something similar to that in Bounty.
Okay, but yeah, that's one to consider, 100%. Yeah, very good.
I guess we have a question over there.
If you want to like third report, if you want to come back to the first report, what is the process? You have to set any interview or any button to come back to the first.
So if you set up the drill through, it automatically, there's a back button appears on the top of that. And from there, you can go back to the page 2 and then go back to the page 1. So there's an option automatically available when you just set up a drill through. Yeah, like your previous step. So if you're from one
Whatever
to
page for you there, we'll go back there. Yeah.
Same steps, but seems like prior to going that, so that's a big step. What do you suggest doing that is the rewards that we can learn how to do that? This is something new. That's really
In terms of testing the drill tools, is that right?
not the drill. That's okay.
Oh, I had the same thing, don't worry.
The drill through is fine. The answer we run is meant to do some practical. Know the DAX is being made. But when you give information correctly, sometimes there's one of the points that you made earlier. My question is, how would someone like me others? What's the best route to find out how to do those DAX? And then also the question by
Yeah, that is a really good question. So,
Reconciliation.
Yeah.
Each report will be running a query. Your top level report will be running a query. So you've got the SQL from that. You check that. You go to the filter report. That also generates a query, a SQL query. You look at them from the two to see what's different.
yeah, I suppose at the end of the day, it is trial and error. You can't beat trial and error. But yeah, the way personally, I like to just make sure it's because drill through it does work really well, but it's just always good to make sure that it does work the way it should do. And one of the things that we found out recently was that when if your DAX measure does have filters in it, like for example, filter this to that, drill throughs aren't the biggest fan of that. So keep that in mind when you do use drill throughs for it. Sorry, say that. Sorry, I can't hear you. I'm really sorry.
So where would be the best place to educate yourself? What you say.
Yeah.
People BI, I know people say that, but they do really good YouTube videos and going to.
I was just gonna say that.
Yeah.
YouTube.
Yeah.
That's where it's
hard.
Yeah.
It's really hard to learn, but YouTube will give you.
Also, one of us does have a YouTube channel here in Nimai, so if you'd like to check it out.
I'm not much active on that.
Shameless promotion, sorry.
I'll send that out.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, we can send that out. Nimai, your channel.
Yeah, it's just my name.
Basically got a small that. I've written a book on that. I think yeah, so their book will be pretty detailed. But I think as well, it's understanding is that it's more